What was your first experience with meditation?
So my first experience, I want to say it was in a workshop, but I think we can go a little bit further than that. My dad is a pastor, and it got a real interesting with me when I won't make this story long, but when I turned 18, I decided I wanted to do something else other than go to church. I knew that I was still religious, but I needed something else. And I needed to hear more clearly. And so I just started I don't know, sitting. And I didn't know what that was. I didn't have a name for what I was doing. I just knew I needed to hear something higher than me more clearly. So, yeah, that's where it started for me, in that change, in that transition.
Yeah. What about you?
So,
Yeah.
in a funny story, I've been meditating since I was a little girl
Okay.
because my family tells the story of me lying down in the middle of the floor, not listening to nobody and tuning people out. And I've been good at blocking people out for a long time. So I'm like, I've been meditating
So good at that.
for a long time. And I didn't know it. And my family didn't know it. They thought I was being like, mischievous and all that. But I was like, I was just meditating at an early age. But no, formally, when I started teaching yoga, probably in about 2013 or so. So it came again with my trainings as well in workshop. And as we take yoga out of just the asana, and you learn about the other limbs of yoga as well, right? And just understanding that they all have an equal right part in the whole process. And so using that to explore my personal exploration with it before being able to offer it to other people. Yeah.
I'm still kind of studying those things.
Oh, absolutely.
The limbs
Yeah.
and all the things that come with doing yoga. Yeah.
Lifelong practice.
Man.
For sure.
Practice.
Always practice. I think my first experience with meditation, when I think about it informally, I think it goes back to church and being younger, Episcopal by background, and it tends to be just a more contemplative way of worshiping. And so it was funny when I started being formally trained in meditation, I saw some of those same elements show up. And I was like, this is why this feels somewhat comfortable. But my early, in yoga teacher training and then, when in getting the meditation certification, my meditation experience was tough. It was like, because, you're told to get comfortable, you're told to get quiet, and I'm not necessarily a quiet person by nature.
In my head.
Of my mouth and by head. And I would get in there, and
easy.
what was really funny is that when I allowed myself to get quiet and to be still, I was falling asleep every time. Every single time. And then you're laying there and you can hear, when it's a guided meditation, you can hear the person like guiding you through the meditation, and you can also hear yourself snoring. I would be like, wake up.
Isn't that a part of that awareness that we're talking about? That, seeing the thoughts, seeing everything that comes up.
And still being present,
And still
right?
being present.
Yeah, and allowing your body to rest. Like your body probably needed to rest though for you even to get to that point. So falling asleep in meditation is not bad.
No, it's not a
right.
bad
So
thing at
it's
all.
really your body probably still needs that, but it's a way of training to get to a different part, a point, right, of proficiency with your practice. But it's not bad. It's part of the process.
Then you all used to take it as used to. I'm not doing that much teaching anymore, but as you all teach in your classes coming and somebody's snoring. I used to love that.
I think it's a badge of honor, right? Like I'm like, oh yes.
They're
And we
so
have to go
sad.
near them, wake them up, and just gently place your hand on
Yeah.
them. Oh, you take your time.
Yeah.
And
that's
that's
kind of a thing.
feel like is a lesson in and of itself, right? Because we're taught we strive, right, to be great at it. And when you're learning how to meditate, you are also told like not to judge, like
Not
to
to
let go of the
judge.
judgment and to just be okay with what is. And what is that you were so relaxed that you went into a different state of being, which may be sleep, which, may be snoring, but there was rest there. There was kind of and so you learn to think about it in a different way. And I think that's a great practice and a great example of getting to know yourself a little bit better.
Yes.
All a part of yoga.
Yeah.
All a part of it.
Yeah. I remember in our training being told first that it's not about clearing your mind. Like that for me and my personal practice was key as well as in my training, right? It's like, no, it's not about sitting here and having a clear mind for like 15 minutes, an hour, 3 hours. And I was like, oh, that really makes sense because that's almost impossible, right? So it put everything in a perspective. So, being able to take that on in my personal practice and really giving me the foundation of taking that expectation off the table. Right. So that's not the expectation. So then it gives you so many other places to go outside of that. Yeah.
Because it's hard too. Like it's like your mind does exactly the opposite of what
you're
you want it to do in that moment.
What you're
so
trying
when you
to
tell
control
yourself,
it to do.
right. I remember in a yoga class, early on in my practice, the instructor would be like, and just allow yourself to fall into nothing and think about nothing and blah, blah, blah. And my mind was thinking of everything but nothing, and including nothing written in cursive that looked like, the neon lights, like the open sign. Yes.
Nothing. The
whole time. And that is not rest.
Yeah.
And so, but it's when you can step back from that and like just allow it to get blurry and kind of hazy in the mind that that's like the sweet spot to me.
Oh, yeah.
For me
Yeah.
in meditation. I think it's fair to say it looks different for everybody.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
It looks different for everybody.
The key with that for me is also to not get frustrated in those moments, right?
Don't
get frustrated because that's
judgment.
observing, and being with what is, and it's like, no, this is what's going on, and maybe I really need to process this in a way in
Why
this
is it coming
moment,
up?
right? So pay attention to that, but
Yeah.
try not to get frustrated. And to me, how key that is to translating over into real life. Like when you are there and things are going through your mind, or you're going through the routines at work or in traffic or things, but not letting those things frustrate you, even though they're going on, right? So applying that same thing to what's happening in the mind, to what's happening in real life.
That's good to hear.
That's the training, on and off the mat, on and off the cushion. Like, it's all real world.